Boy takes old purse out of water and acts quickly after peering inside. He turned to see why everyone was yelling and saw the fishing rod bend, indicating that there was a large catch on the other end of the line. Rushing to help his nephew control the line, he was unprepared for what they had caught that day. The leather and water-soaked shape finally appeared, and it was there that the other fisherman saw that it was not a fish. Brodie Brooks, 11, couldn't contain her excitement at the idea of going fishing with the other boys. With the new cane he had just received for his birthday, he was ready to experience the adventure of his life. But no one on this fateful outing could have expected to wind up an old handbag with all of its contents still inside. The men had taken their boat to Hardwell Lake in Anderson County, South Carolina, hoping to turn the tide of their lives. After putting down their canes and settling in for the day, they exchanged the usual jokes while waiting for it to bite. They were far from suspecting that their catch of the day would lead them to the police station. Ben Myers was watching young Brody. He showed him how to put a bait on his brand new fishing rod and throw the line into the lake. He did not expect the boy to catch anything. You can imagine his amazement when Brody screamed that he had a touch. But his excitement quickly gave way to fear when he realized how much his nephew's line had been washed away. Brody remembers that day well. "I felt like it was a big fish because it made my fishing rod go up and down," he said. "I had just received an ugly stick, so I was afraid of breaking my fishing rod. I was afraid the line would break." When the bag came out of the water, Brody opened it. But when he saw what was inside, a shiver ran through him. He then called Ben. As he lifted the purse, he knew it must be old, but he did not expect it to be that old until an object inside revealed the mystery. The handbag was in remarkably good condition, although the brown leather was discolored and muddy. They opened the bag and it contained several objects, some unrecognizable, but one of them surprised Ben. The men were surprised by the contents of the waterlogged handbag. The first thing Ben and his fishing friends discovered were old, faded photos. However, they did not know who it was, so they continued to search. "We can grab a can here, or something like that. But a woman's handbag is a first for me," said Ben in an interview. "I have been fishing on this lake all my life, and this is the first time I have seen anything like this." Fortunately, the objects inside were in a remarkable condition, even if they rested more than 9 meters underwater. Ben started rummaging inside and took out 2 tubes of lipstick, a comb and a few loyalty cards. But what happened to the owner of the bag? And how long had he rested on the cloudy bottom of the lake? In the bag, there were a lot of photos of people taken a long time ago, but they seemed in good condition despite the fact that they stayed underwater for so long. However, it was impossible to know who owned the purse. Until they opened a part of the purse that contained all the secrets. Inside another compartment, they found even more soggy photos. Ben and Brody carefully separated them and let them dry. After inspecting them all, one of them caught their eye. They stared at a familiar face. That's when they knew they had to contact the police. Ben instantly recognized the woman's face in the photo. Brody also found her face familiar. She was a family friend. "I went to school with her nephew, but I haven't seen her in 10 years, said Ben. But why was his bag in the lake? And how long had he been there? Ben became nervous when he realized he might be handling evidence. After reporting the discovery to the authorities, Ben searched Facebook for the woman's closest relative and found her nephew, who was surprised that the bag had been found after all these years. He immediately contacted his aunt to tell him the news. The owner of the handbag was April Bolt, now 49 years old. She couldn't believe he had finally been found. "I could not believe it. I couldn't find the words. I thought I would never see him again," she said in an interview. She lost it in 1992, 25 years ago. But April thinks that her bag has disappeared under suspicious circumstances. In 1992, April participated in a barbecue at Hardwell Lake. "My parents had an apartment there and we were on a boat. We were grilling steaks and we parked the boat next to the hold, 2 boys were fishing there, and, I hate making accusations in the air, but when we came back, I said to myself, my wallet has disappeared," she explained. At the time, April was devastated. "I was crying. It was not a lot of money, maybe $60. But a woman has her whole life in her bag. It was devastating," she said. "My favorite lipstick was in it and this color is no longer sold." But it was not the loss of lipstick or money that most annoyed April. Among the items Ben found inside the bag were photos of his son. "My son is now 26, but he was 15 months old at the time, and all of his professionally taken photos were in my portfolio. They were damaged by the water, but you can recognize it," said April in tears. When asked about their incredible hold on Lake Hartwell, Ben and Brody still can't believe it. "It was crazy," said Ben. "You are fishing for a purse, and it turns out that you know who it belonged to. Brody, on the other hand, was not as happy as her uncle for grabbing an old handbag rather than a fish. The boy's disappointment was on his face when they pulled out the old leather handbag. But it was Ben who understood what the catch really was. I said to him, "You didn't catch a fish, but a treasure." Ben remembered, laughing. But what did April think of finding his belongings missing more than 2 decades ago? She simply said that getting her bag was enormously valuable to her. But some questions remain unanswered. First, was his purse really stolen at the time? And by whom? Second, she wonders why she found him now. She thinks the universe has its reasons. "Everyone keeps telling me, if you find this after so many years, there is a good reason," she revealed. "I'm sure I would find out over time." In the meantime, she is enjoying the memories that the objects in her purse brought back to her. "It is a real pleasure to have recovered it," she concludes.